Sarah Martinez's feet were killing her. 8 months pregnant and still working the night shift at Pete's Gas and Go wasn't exactly what she'd planned for her life, but plans had a funny way of changing. She adjusted her name tag and pushed a strand of dark hair behind her ear, forcing a smile as another tired trucker walked in. "Good evening," she said, her voice cheerful despite the clock reading 1:47 a.m. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows across the store's linoleum floor. The bell above the door chimed again as the trucker left, and Sarah grabbed the inventory clipboard from behind the counter. Time to restock the drinks. She walked to the storage room, one hand on her lower back, the other reaching for the light switch. Boxes of soda and energy drinks lined the shelves. Sarah checked her list and sighed. The Mountain Dew display up front was running low again. She'd have to carry out at least 3 cases. "Come on, baby girl," she whispered, patting her rounded belly. "Just a few more months of this, and Mama will have enough saved up for your arrival." The baby kicked in response, making Sarah smile despite her exhaustion. She hadn't planned on being a single mother. Marcus had seemed so perfect at first, charming, ambitious, talking about their future together. Then came the positive pregnancy test, and suddenly his ambitions didn't include a baby or a girlfriend working her way through nursing school. Sarah pushed those thoughts away and focused on the task at hand. She grabbed the first case of Mountain Dew, lifting with her legs. Like the doctor had shown her, the weight wasn't too bad, but the awkward shape of the box made it hard to balance with her pregnant belly. Making her way back to the front, she started restocking the cooler. The store radio played soft rock songs from the 90s, and Sarah hummed along, trying to keep her spirits up. She had another shift at the diner starting at noon tomorrow, but at least her manager there let her sit down between customers. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Another past due notice from the electric company. Sarah bit her lip, doing quick math in her head. If she skipped a few meals and took extra shifts next week, maybe she could... The sound of an expensive engine purred through the night, interrupting her calculations. Through the store windows, Sarah watched as a sleek black Lamborghini pulled up to the pump. Her eyes widened. They didn't get many luxury cars at Pete's Gas and Go, especially not at this hour. The driver's door opened and a large figure stepped out into the flickering fluorescent light of the gas station canopy. Sarah straightened up, wincing as her back protested, and prepared her customer service smile. Little did she know, this customer was about to change everything. John Cena pulled his cap lower as he stepped out of his Lamborghini. The charity event had run late, and he was looking forward to getting home. But his car's gas light had other plans. Through the store windows, he spotted the cashier, young, pretty, and very pregnant, struggling with a heavy box of energy drinks. His muscles tensed instinctively, wanting to help, but years of celebrity life had taught him caution. Sometimes his presence caused more commotion than comfort. The bell chimed as he entered. The cashier looked up, offering a tired but genuine smile that reminded him of his own mother years ago. She'd worked nights too, doing whatever it took to keep food on the table. "Good evening," she said, her name tag reading Sarah. "Pump, number 4? "Yeah, thanks." He handed her his credit card, noticing how she pressed a hand against her lower back while running the transaction. The box she'd been carrying sat half-empty by her feet. "Would you like a receipt?" Sarah asked, then quickly checked her phone as it buzzed. Cena caught the flash of worry across her face before she stuffed the phone back in her pocket, blinking rapidly. "Yes, please." He watched as she wiped her eyes when she thought he wasn't looking, probably hoping the late hour explained away any tears. On the counter, he spotted a nursing textbook peeking out from beneath some store paperwork. "Here you go, sir. Have a good night." Sarah handed him the receipt, then turned to continue stocking the drinks. Cena walked back to his car and started pumping gas, but he couldn't shake the image of Sarah's worried face. The textbook, the tears, the late-night shift while 8 months pregnant, it all painted a picture he knew too well. He finished filling up and got back in his car. His hand was on the key when he stopped. Through the windshield, he watched Sarah lift another heavy box, determination written across her face. She reminded him so much of someone else, someone who'd worked countless late nights, never complaining, always pushing forward. Cena pulled out his phone and made a call. "Hey, it's John. Remember that foundation idea we discussed? I think I just found our first candidate. Get me everything you can on Pete's Gas and Go in Tampa, especially their night shift employee named Sarah." He ended the call and sat there a moment longer, watching as Sarah continued her work, unaware that her life was about to change forever. The bell chimed again. Sarah looked up from her textbook to see the Lamborghini guy walking back in. He browsed the snack aisle, but she could tell he wasn't really looking at the chips. "Forgot something?" she asked, marking her place in the nursing chapter about pediatric care. "Actually, yeah." He approached the counter, gesturing at her book. "Nursing student?" Sarah's hand instinctively touched the worn cover. Used to be. Had to put it on hold for now." She didn't know why she was telling him this. Maybe it was the kind way he asked, or maybe she was just tired of keeping everything bottled up. "What made you choose nursing?" He leaned against the counter, seeming genuinely interested. "My little sister had leukemia when we were kids," Sarah said, surprised by her own openness. "The nurses who took care of her, they were amazing. They made the scariest time of our lives bearable. I wanted to do that for other families." He nodded, understanding in his eyes. "And now?" "Life happened." Sarah shrugged, patting her belly. "But I'll get back to it someday. Just need to save up first." "How far along are you?" 8 months, she smiled. "It's a girl." "Must be tough working these hours." He glanced around the empty store. "You do what you have to do." Sarah straightened some candy bars, avoiding his eyes. "My daughter's worth it." The man was quiet for a moment. "Your manager, what's their name?" "Pete Davidson. He owns the place." Sarah looked puzzled. "Why?" "Just curious." He pulled out his phone, typing something. "And your shift schedule, is it always nights?" Sarah hesitated. These were personal questions from a stranger, but something about him felt trustworthy. "Tuesday through Saturday, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I work at Lucy's Diner during the day too." He wrote this down, frowning slightly. "2 jobs at 8 months pregnant? Like I said, you do what you have to do." Sarah lifted her chin, a flash of pride, cutting through her exhaustion. The man studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled, a warm, knowing smile that made his eyes crinkle at the corners. "Yes, you do. Thank you, Sarah. You've been very helpful." He turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing. What was your nursing school?" "Tampa Bay Medical Institute. I completed 2 semesters before." She gestured at her belly. The bell chimed as he left. Sarah watched through the window as he sat in his car, making a phone call. The Lamborghini's engine purred to life, and he drove away into the night. Sarah shook her head, puzzled by the strange conversation. She picked up her textbook again, trying to focus on the chapter about neonatal care, unaware that her answers had set something extraordinary in motion. Strange things started happening at Pete's Gas and Go. First, Pete called Sarah into his. office before her shift started. "I'm changing your schedule," he announced, not looking up from his computer. "Day shifts only from now on. Same pay." Sarah blinked. "But night shift pays extra." "Yeah, well, someone complained about having a pregnant woman working nights, said it was unsafe." Pete shrugged. "They made some good points and offered to cover the difference in your pay." "Who complained?" "Don't know. Corporate stuff." Pete waved his hand dismissively. "Start tomorrow at 8 a.m. The next surprise came during her shift at Lucy's Diner. Her phone rang. "Tampa Bay. Medical Institute calling." Sarah almost dropped the coffee pot. "Ms. Martinez, we're reviewing applications for our upcoming semester. We noticed you withdrew last year due to financial circumstances." Sarah's throat tightened. "Yes, that's right." "Well, we've had a cancellation. There's an opening in our flexible learning program, designed for working parents. Full scholarship." "There must be some mistake," Sarah stammered. "I didn't apply for any scholarships." "No mistake. You were specifically recommended by our new community partner. They wish to remain anonymous." That evening, Sarah found a notice from her landlord in her mailbox. Her heart sank. She was 2 months behind on rent. But when she opened the envelope, she found a receipt, paid in full, including the next 3 months. Sarah called her mom in tears. "Did you guys do this? The rent, the school." "Mija, you know we would if we could," her mother said softly. "We can barely keep up with Dad's medical bills." The mysteries kept piling up. Her electric bill, paid. A gift card for baby supplies appeared in her locker. A note from her doctor's office saying her remaining prenatal visits had been covered by an anonymous donor. Sarah asked everyone she could think of: her old high school teachers, her sister's cancer support group, her former classmates from nursing school. Nobody knew anything. She was restocking shelves at the gas station, much easier now during daylight hours, when Mrs. Chen from Next Door rushed in. "Sarah! Sarah! You'll never believe it!" The elderly woman waved a piece of paper. "Remember how I told you about my grandson's medical bills? The ones from the accident?" Sarah nodded. Mrs. Chen had been crying about it just last week. "Someone paid them, every penny." Mrs. Chen's eyes sparkled. "And they set up a college fund for him, too." "That's amazing," Sarah said, her mind spinning. "Did they say who?" "No, just an anonymous donor. But Sarah..." Mrs. Chen leaned closer. "I saw a big black car outside your apartment yesterday. Very expensive looking." Sarah thought about the Lamborghini guy. But why would a random customer do all this? And how did he even know where she lived? That afternoon, Sarah found an envelope taped to her locker at the diner. Inside was a stack of papers from Tampa Bay Medical Institute. Admission forms, class schedules, a student ID card with her picture. When had they even taken that? And a note. "Your sister's nurses changed your life. Now it's your turn to change others. Everything's taken care of. Just focus on being a great mom and a great nurse." A friend. Sarah sat down hard on the break room chair, papers trembling in her hands. Someone was out there. Someone with the power to completely change lives, moving pieces around like a chess master. But why her? Through the diner window, she caught a glimpse of someone watching, a large figure in a baseball cap. When she blinked, they were gone. Sarah stood in front of Tampa Bay Medical Institute, clutching her new student ID. The morning sun warmed her face as students rushed past, carrying textbooks and coffee cups. Her baby kicked, as if sharing her excitement. The admission papers felt heavy in her bag. Full scholarship, flexible schedule, even a stipend for textbooks and supplies. She'd read them 100 times, looking for the catch, but found none. Inside, the orientation room buzzed with excited chatter. Sarah found a seat near the back, grateful for the comfortable chairs. Much better than standing at the gas station counter. "Welcome, everyone!" The dean stepped up to the podium. "Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge our generous new community partner, whose scholarship program is making dreams possible for working parents like Sarah Martinez." Sarah's face heated as several people turned to look at her. She hadn't expected to be singled out. "Their only request?" the dean continued. "Pay it forward when you can." During the break, Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Check your student mailbox." She found the student mailroom and opened box 217 with her new key. Inside was a small package. Her hands trembled as she unwrapped it. A brand new stethoscope. Not the basic model students usually started with, but a premium one she'd only dreamed of owning. A note fell out. "Every hero needs the right tools." Sarah blinked back tears. The stethoscope felt perfect in her hands, like it had been waiting for her all along. Back in class, they discussed clinical rotations. Sarah's schedule was already arranged. Mornings at the pediatric ward, perfectly timed between her gas station shifts and her baby's predicted arrival. "Ms. Martinez?" The administrator caught her after class. "Your childcare arrangements have been confirmed. The hospital's daycare center has a spot reserved starting next month." "But I didn't arrange." Sarah stopped. Of course. Walking to her car, she spotted a familiar black Lamborghini in the parking lot. Empty. But there, near the hospital entrance, a tall figure in a baseball cap, talking to someone in scrubs. Sarah hurried closer, but by the time she reached the spot, he was gone. The nurse was still there, reviewing some papers. "Excuse me," Sarah said. "That man you were talking to—" "Oh, the foundation representative?" The nurse smiled. "They're doing amazing work. Did you know they're funding a whole new pediatric wing?" Sarah's mind raced. A foundation? The mysterious payments? The scholarship? The black car? It all connected to that night at the gas station. But why? She remembered the way he'd looked at her nursing textbook, how he'd asked about her story, the understanding in his eyes when she talked about her sister. In the hospital lobby, a TV played the news. Something about a celebrity charity event last week. Sarah glanced up, then stopped cold. There he was, the man from the gas station, but without the cap. The caption read, "John Cena announces new healthcare initiative." But before she could process this revelation, he was gone, replaced by other news. Sarah stood frozen, pieces clicking into place. The figure she'd seen watching, the foundation, the life-changing gifts. That night at home, Sarah looked up John Cena online. Pictures of him visiting sick kids in hospitals. Stories of secret donations. A quote, "The most important thing we can do is help others when we have the chance." Her phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. "Ready to change lives." Sarah looked at her new stethoscope, her admission papers, the sonogram of her baby girl. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she typed. Yes. Through her window, she caught a glimpse of a black car turning the corner, disappearing into the night like a guardian angel. 3 weeks into nursing school, Sarah was thriving. Her baby bump had grown, but her worries had shrunk. She still worked at Pete's Gas and Go, now during civilized hours, watching people's lives change mysteriously like hers had. Mrs. Chen's grandson got into college. The diner's cook received unexpected cancer treatment funding. A regular customer's mortgage was suddenly paid off. each story connected by an invisible thread of kindness. One quiet afternoon, the bell chimed at the gas station. Sarah looked up from her pediatric nursing homework and froze. There he was, no cap this time, no attempt to hide. John Cena stood at her counter, smiling that same warm smile from that late night weeks ago. "You," Sarah whispered. "Me," he agreed. "How's nursing school?" Sarah's hand trembled as she touched her stethoscope. "Why?" "Because 25 years ago, my mom worked nights at a gas station in Massachusetts," Cena said, his voice soft. 8 months pregnant with my brother. She'd wanted to be a teacher, but life had other plans. He pulled out his wallet, showing her an old photo. A tired woman in a gas station uniform, pregnant, smiling despite her exhaustion. "Someone helped her too," he continued. "Anonymous donation, paid for her teaching degree, changed our whole family's life." He looked around. "The store. When I saw you that night, it was like seeing her again. Same determination, same dreams put on hold." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "The foundation." "The Carol Cena Education Foundation," he nodded. "Named after my mom. She taught 3rd grade for 30 years, changed hundreds of lives. All because someone gave her a chance." "But it's not just me," Sarah said. "Mrs. Chen, the cook at the diner. The foundation believes in ripple effects. Help one person, they help others. Create a wave of change." He smiled. "You'll do the same thing one day. Why stay anonymous?" "Mom always said the best gifts come with no strings attached. No obligation to feel grateful. Just the freedom to soar." He gestured at her textbooks. "Speaking of which, how's the pediatric rotation?" "Amazing," Sarah beamed. "Yesterday, I helped calm down a scared little girl getting chemo, just like my sister's nurses did for her." "See? The ripples are already starting." Sarah's baby kicked. She laughed, wiping her eyes. "She agrees." "Smart kid." Cena reached into his pocket. "One more thing. A gift for her." He handed Sarah an envelope. Inside was a certificate for a college trust fund. "But you've already done so much." "This isn't from me," he interrupted. "It's from my mom. She insisted. Said every baby deserves a chance to chase their dreams." Sarah came around the counter and hugged him, professional boundaries forgotten. "Thank you. Both of you." "Just promise me one thing," he said, hugging her back. "When you're a nurse and you see someone struggling, someone with dreams they had to put on hold. Help them," Sarah finished. "Even if they can't see me." "Exactly." He stepped back, adjusting his shirt. "Now, you've got studying to do, and I've got a wrestling match to get to." As he turned to leave, Sarah called out, "Wait! The other night, at the hospital, were you checking up on me?" Cena just smiled and tapped his baseball cap. "You can't see me." The bell chimed as he left. Sarah watched the black Lamborghini drive away, then touched her stethoscope, her admission papers, the trust fund certificate. Physical proof that angels existed, even if you couldn't always see them. She opened her pediatric nursing textbook, ready to study, ready to heal, ready to change lives. Her daughter kicked again, and Sarah smiled. "You know what, baby girl?" she whispered. "Sometimes the biggest heroes are the ones working quietly behind the scenes, making dreams come true without taking credit." She looked at the empty parking lot where the Lamborghini had been and added, "And sometimes they drive really nice cars." The pediatric ward at Tampa General buzzed with activity as nurse Sarah Martinez made her rounds. Her never-give-up badge reel clicked softly against her scrubs as she checked on her youngest patients. 5-year-old Luna Martinez sat in the nurse's station, coloring while waiting for her mom's shift to end. Her "You Can't See Me" t-shirt was a size too big. A birthday gift from Aunt Carol in Massachusetts. Sarah kept 2 photos in her wallet. One showed her and Luna at her nursing school graduation, both wearing caps decorated with Dream Chaser. The other was a grainy security camera shot from Pete's Gas and Go, showing a tired pregnant woman and a baseball-capped customer. A reminder that angels worked in mysterious ways. Today's patient was a young mom with a sick toddler and unpaid bills. Sarah spotted the nursing textbook in her bag. Sometimes, Sarah told Luna later, tucking her into bed, the best gifts are the ones you give without anyone knowing. Luna yawned. Like ninjas? Like ninjas, Sarah smiled, touching the college fund paperwork hidden in her dresser. Or like wrestlers who drive black cars. Did this story touch your heart? Don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button if you believe in the power of kindness. Subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming real-life stories that will restore your faith in humanity. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that angels exist, even if you can't see them.